Hello and welcome to Puppet and the Movies, the only movie review program hosted by a puppet. In this special episode, we'll be focusing on some of the gems from 2010 that we want to make sure the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences doesn't forget come Oscar time. Let's start with a performance that the Academy would be insane not to recognize in the category of Best Supporting Actor.
I could really use some help from a guy like that right now.
Really? Hey, I'm Kick-Ass.
He should call himself Ass Kick instead.
In Kick-Ass, Nicolas Cage brought everything that made the character of Big Daddy an unforgettable entry in the superhero genre, despite his extremely limited screen time. But there's certainly a precedent for recognizing brief performances. Judi Dench won an Oscar for Shakespeare in Love, where she appears for approximately 8 minutes. And Beatrice Straight won an Oscar for Network, where her screen time amounted to 5 minutes and change. Nicolas Cage doesn't waste a second, and this role alone is proof enough that he's the finest actor in all of show business, living or dead. Academy, this is one to remember. Next, let's take a look at a teen comedy that the Academy would be remiss not to nominate for Best Original Screenplay.
I wanna hold them like they do in Texas, please.
No judgment, but you kind of look like a stripper.
Mom.
A high-end stripper for governors or athletes.
Easy A is one of the best films of 2010, instantly earning a spot in the pantheon of classic teen comedies like Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Clueless. Burt v. Royal Screenplay is a celebration of the genre that is relevant to today's youth, but also exhibits a masterful sense of comedy. I laughed uproariously throughout this film, and that is remarkable because I'm one of those people, it takes a lot to make me laugh. It's a film that might have fallen short of brilliance in the wrong hands, but the direction was ideal, and the cast was mad fat. This role solidifies Emma Stone as an immortal comedic superstar, and though there were no roles written for puppets, prominent use was made of a woodchuck costume. Academy, this is one to remember. When we come back, we'll look at 2 more nominations to consider, including my pick for the all-around talent to watch.
But here it starts. He starts establishing the rhythm. Clams pick it up, and oysters, and he's feeding on lobsters, whatever.
At the Walt Disney Studios from 1984 to 1994, a perfect storm of people and circumstances changed the face of animation forever. But it almost never happened.
Waking Sleeping Beauty is one of the highlights of 2010, and a one-of-a-kind documentary about a fleeting renaissance in the world of animation that came shockingly close to never happening. Great animation is a form as rare and important as great puppetry. This is a film about unsung artists who changed the world, told from their own perspective. Now, I know this film is not on the short list of eligible nominees, so there's no possible way it can be recognized as Best Documentary. But it's not like you guys can't change the rules. These aren't exactly sacred laws. They're the arbitrary guidelines of a meaningless competition. I mean, ultimately, the Academy is nothing more than an exclusive club of imperfect movie employees who like to give each other trophies. So stop being so anal, you small-minded dinosaurs. This is one to remember. Next, let's take a look at something of an honor of my own modest design. This is my pick for the all-around talent to watch. In 2010, this person displayed a filmmaking flair above and beyond his peers, and I think the Academy should keep a close eye on this person's career.
This is my perspective and has always been my perspective on life. I have a very grim, pessimistic view of it. I always have since I was a little boy. It hasn't gotten worse with age or anything. I do feel that it's a grim, painful, nightmarish, meaningless experience.
Woody Allen wrote and directed one of the true masterpieces of 2010 called You Will Meet a Tall, Dark Stranger. I hope the Academy is aware of this film's considerable value. It's easy to get swept up in the glamour of blockbusters and whatever's hip and jiggy on the internet and the Twitter. It's important to remember the smaller films, for they sometimes have the most to offer. I don't know if the Academy thinks it's whack or bogus to acknowledge the genius of a guy who maybe isn't juicy, or maybe they think it's someone else's turn because Woody Allen has been making movies nonstop since the 1960s and has been nominated for Best Original Screenplay more times than anyone else in the history of the world. But guess what? I don't think it says most popular, sexy, contrarian, hipster bullcrap on your little golden trophies. Although some years I did have to double check. So Academy, this 75-year-old nebbishy Jewish writer-director from New York is one to remember. Join me next time as we look at 4 to Forget. Until then, the Puppet Theater is closed.